Hey everybody, I'm really excited because I'm actually going to try my hand at baking bread from scratch today. So I've kind of been wanting to do this for a little bit. So I've got 5 days to play around with this recipe. I've looked at a variety of recipes, but I think the one I'm going with today is a Le Creuset recipe, and I actually have a Dutch oven that I'm going to cook it in. So I borrowed this from my mother-in-law. But the recipe is actually on their website, Le Creuset. So we're just gonna follow it, and I've never baked before, so fingers crossed this works. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna actually get 2 cups of flour. There's 1. All right, 2 cups going in. We just need 3/4 cups of salt. 1, 2, 3. 1/2 teaspoon of instant yeast. These are 1/4 teaspoons. We'll do 2 of those. So after the flour, the salt, and the yeast have been added, just going to give it a mixy mix. In a separate bowl, we're going to mix 3/4 cups of room temperature water, 1/2 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to our water. Give that a little stir. So now we're gonna mix the water and the vinegar into the yeast and the flour and the salt. Here we go. We're just gonna mix it up. It says you can use your hands. I'm gonna use a spatula. Maybe once it gets a little bit more combined, I'll use my hands, but all right, so we're gonna let this sit in the bowl with a tight-fitting lid at room temperature for about 12 to 18 hours. So that puts us about noon. This up, and I'll see you tomorrow when we put it in the oven. So I'm excited. All right, see you then. Bye.
She's doubled in size for sure. Yep, smells like bread dough. All right, I'm gonna give her maybe 2 more hours, and then we're gonna see about baking it. Ooh. Okay, our dough has risen overnight, and it has over doubled in size. Putting a little olive oil in it, and just kind of coating the sides and the bottom, so nothing sticks. All right, so we've got our board heavily floured. Probably need like a dough scraper if I'm going to do this more regularly. And pulling and tucking and pulling and tucking, and just tighten it up like a ball. That's cool. We're going to put it in our Dutch oven, and then it's going to proof for another, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours, I think. All right, in the Dutch oven. Okay, our dough is done resting. It's actually rested for way longer than I should have, but we'll see. All right, so we're going to cook it at 450 for 30 minutes, and then we're going to reduce it to 350 and go for another like 15 to 20 minutes. So with the lid's going on into the 450-degree oven. So I'm looking forward to this. Add a little salt to the top of the bread. Sea salt bread, why not? Sea salt. All right, we're going in the oven. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 minutes. All right, I'll see you back in 30. All right, the timer just went off. I just took the bread out of the oven, and it's hot, and it smells good though. So I'm gonna take the lid off. Let's see this together. Okay. Okay, the bread's come out of the oven. Sounds good. Sounds like a nice crusty bread. But we're gonna let it cool, and then we're going to cut into it, and let's see how it tastes. But all right, our bread is cooled, and we're gonna move it to a cutting board. It smells good for sure. Pretty. Smells good. Should put a little butter on it. Probably should be using my Kerrygold butter. Homemade bread. Oh, I like it. The inside's nice and chewy. I will say I am impressed. I have never baked bread. So for it to come out like this, it's tasty. Took minimal effort. A lot of the time was in like the proofing and the rising of the bread. Dutch oven was really key because I don't have a bread maker, but this was quite good. Overall, I'm pleased. We'll keep doing it. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.